Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. It is 6:50 a.m. East Coast time, Monday, September 16th. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I hope you all had a good Sunday for DraftKings, for your fantasy football leagues, and just in general, right? Sunday hanging out with the family, whatever it was, watching football all day, or just watching your favorite team, and then doing whatever you had to do on your last day of the weekend for those working world people. What we're going to do today is break down the Monday Night Football slate. I apologize if something in the background looks different for me or you hear a noise. I'm in my business, my apartment's business center. I have some family over, so this is the best I can do. Hopefully, it all looks good for all of you. That said, let's get down into this slate. I do want to break a couple of things down. For this slate. I want to talk about the salaries. I want to talk about my initial interest, and then I will be live tonight around 6:15 p.m. Talking about the slate. I'm probably not playing the slate, if I'm being honest with you. I don't usually get much action down on a showdown slate, but for this slate specifically, it's just ugly. You have no idea where Trevor Siemian, the starting quarterback for the Jets now, with Sam Darnold having mono for the next 1 to 2 months. You have no idea where he's going to be throwing the ball. We can make some assumptions on where he'll throw the ball, but it's not airtight by any means. It never is for showdowns, but it's not even close to being airtight. Now, you might think that gives you an edge over professionals and things like that. Maybe a little bit for 150 lineups. They're still going to have an edge over you, though. So, with this all said, and is he actually only $800 now that I look at this very quickly? Is Ryan Griffin really only $800, or is this pulling some other Ryan Griffin into my sheet? Oh, he's only $800. That's actually true. Holy cow, that's crazy. All right. So with that said, let's go down into it. Before we do, welcome to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Sal Vetri. I do cover daily fantasy sports in the NFL, MLB, NBA, and WNBA streets. We're on track. My goal was to hit 10,000 subscribers by Christmas, the end of the year. And we're on track to hit it by the end of this week. So thank you all so much. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, you get any value from this video, you've had any value from a video of mine in the past, it's totally free to hit that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. I do have Patreon exclusive content listed down below. There's a couple exclusive shows over there in terms of videos, a podcast. Everything is talked about in the description below. There's a link that'll tell you about it. A couple exclusive shows, my stat sheets, my projections, rankings and tiers for the main slate, for Monday night and Thursday night slates. And a couple more things are going to be coming for the main slates during the week. I'm going to be blocking out my interests on my Final Look show, on the Final Thoughts show, as to where I am in ranking my interests. That'll be only Patreon exclusive. And also down below, there's some other things. There's some free giveaways, strategy guides. You can follow me on Twitter at SalVetriDFS. And that's all the housekeeping. We got to do that stuff, right? There's always new people watching this, so I appreciate it. Let's get into this slate. So, to start it all off, Showdown stinks. Last week, established runs Taylor Caby won the Showdown slate, $250,000 on Thursday, leaving a ton of money on the table. But he correlated his lineup beautifully. He had Chris Godwin in the captain spot, and he ran it back with the wide receivers for the Panthers, right? Running back with the wide receivers for the Panthers, and just making sure that he correlated his lineup with, if there's a wide receiver in the captain spot, there's a good chance that the other team's going to have to be throwing the ball. And if they are throwing the ball, this is where I want to go. You could also say, if there's a wide receiver in the captain spot, there's a good chance that the other team is going to be running the ball because the wide receiver in the captain spot is playing from behind. Well, this is where I want to go. It could be multiple things. You have to just make sure your lineup is being correlated. You're not having a negatively correlated lineup. What does correlated mean? It means that it makes sense. If somebody's in your captain spot, if you have a wide receiver in your captain spot, odds are you should be having wide receivers and probably a quarterback from the other team running it back. But there's something like that more times than not. You should not be negatively correlating your lineups. You should not be putting Ty Montgomery and Le'Veon Bell in your lineups tonight. That is negatively correlating, especially when Le'Veon Bell plays 100% of the snaps last week. Make sure you're correlating your lineups. That's the biggest tip I can give, other than leaving money on the table gets you different. Leaving money on the table is usually optimal. It happened last week, $250,000. The dude left, I don't even know, $15 plus $100 on the table. A couple times, both times last week, I believe. So, yeah, I'm excited to get into this slate. Again, I think there's real-life implications that are going to be exciting to see tonight, right? Odell Beckham Jr., after Greg Williams saying, he has no talent or he's not that talented. That's why the Giants cut him. You're going to see Odell just erupt tonight. And this might not be a game where, although they're favored by 6 tonight, Cleveland, on the road in New Jersey, this might not be a game where Cleveland lets up if they get ahead against Trevor Siemian. So, you have to have interest in $11,800 Odell Beckham Jr. in my mind. Does he need to be your captain? No, he doesn't need to be your captain. I'll have my captain and I'll have my normal tiers out for this slate tonight over on Patreon. So, yeah, I have interest in Odell Beckham Jr. The game script sets up that there's a team total of that is very favorable right now, I believe, of 25 and a half. So you imagine that although they're favorited and it's going to be in a run script scenario for fantasy purposes and benefit running backs for the Browns, there's a lot of points there to go around. I expect Odell to do very good tonight. I expect Odell to have a fine game. Do I think he's 100% needed? No, nobody's ever 100% needed. We saw that with Christian McCaffrey on Thursday. I've never been so confident in a guy, and he still doesn't get you there, right? 7 points or whatever, less than that, I think, for Christian McCaffrey on Thursday night. And I'm a guy who loves to fade the 90+% owned. I don't think Odell comes in anywhere near that tonight because you have another stud in Le'Veon Bell on the slate. You have Nick Chubb on the slate. So in terms of choosing, right, this is the choice you have to make. You have Baker Mayfield, Bell, Beckham, and Chubb. Good chance you have to choose 2 out of those 4. Maybe you fit 3 if you squeeze in the tight ends, if you squeeze in the cheap defenses, whatever it might be. If I'm choosing 2 just off of hip fire, I'm probably wanting both Nick Chubb and Le'Veon Bell, believe it or not. I would like to try and get to Odell as well, but really then it depends on who you're putting in your captain spot. Now, I don't want to jump all over the place, but don't be sitting there going, ooh, I'm going to put Ryan Griffin in my captain spot so I can fit all of them. I don't think that's that great of a play. Yeah, I get it. You get to only spend $1,200 in the captain spot. First of all, other people are going to do that. Second of all, he's not that good. Ryan Griffin last week caught 3 balls for 10 yards, 4 fantasy points. Like, that's good if it's in your, that's okay at $800, right? If it's in your flex spot. Your captain spot, you need to get when Le'Veon Bell goes for 20 tonight or Nick Chubb goes for 24 tonight and they have 36 in the captain spot, you're probably not making it up by having Ryan Griffin's 6 fantasy points in your captain spot tonight. And 6 would be a very good day, right? Or at least an above average day, an above projection day for Ryan Griffin. So I don't have much interest overall in Ryan Griffin in the captain, but we'll get to him for the flex. So Le'Veon Bell right now is not my favorite captain option, and I really don't have one yet. Again, it's friggin' 6:56 in the morning. But Le'Veon Bell, the shoulder seems fine. They're expecting many short passes, or at least I am, to Bell. Trevor Siemian, throughout his career has been one to a couple of things. Push the ball down the field for sure. He's not scared to throw the ball down the field. I mean, he has experience as a veteran quarterback, but kind of throwing it down short to running backs is something else that stands out, at least from what I've seen in the game logs from the 2016, 2017 years with the Denver Broncos where he got extended run. Le'Veon Bell on the field for 100% of the snaps last week. The shoulder, I imagine that takes him off the field for maybe at most 10% of the snaps. If you're getting a 90% Le'Veon Bell, where he was elite in the passing game last week, according to Lofty on the Awesemo show on, I believe it was Tuesday or Thursday, Le'Veon Bell is going to go through. Sorry, I was just reading a message that came through from a family member concerning, but we'll get to that. Le'Veon Bell is going to go through and run probably the most routes that you see in this entire game, believe it or not. Yes, more so than the wide receivers, potentially more so than some of the wide receivers, just based on game script. He ran 46 routes last week, according to Lofty. That was more than any other wide receiver. That was more than any other running back last week. And the wide receiver who ran the most routes was Allen Robinson. If you take out overtime games, he ran 52. So Le'Veon Bell's right there at 46. So you're getting a wide receiver 1 usage from Le'Veon Bell tonight and a running back 1 and a game script that's going to say, yes, we need to be throwing the ball more. We need to be dropping back more. Maybe if we're running it, we're running it out of draws and handoffs, which is going to benefit Le'Veon Bell. But for the most part, we're going to be running screens. We're going to be dumping it off to Bell. This is a spot where Bell can see double-digit targets. I like Le'Veon Bell. I like him more than Odell tonight, even though I get it, that the hype around Odell needing to blow off steam against Greg Williams. I like that too. It's not like I don't like playing Odell. If I was playing multiple lineups, I'd get pieces to both of them. Baker Mayfield, $11,200. So you usually need at least one quarterback in these showdown slates. At least one quarterback has been needed. I believe it is 77%. That was before this year started, and now there's been quarterbacks needed, and I believe most of these showdown slates. So let's just call it 75%. 3/4 of the lineups, quarterback is needed, at least one of them. Tonight's a slate where I can see that not being the case, though, right? You have four total 10,000 plus players, 3 other ones, and very good quality players in those spots. So, like getting to Baker Mayfield or needing to get to Baker Mayfield to correlate, I get it. It might make some sense, but again, 75% of the time it's needed. So I would say usually, yes, just play those percentages, play a quarterback. You can play a quarterback. You can play Trevor Siemian, who's much, much cheaper, and I think there's actually something to that. But overall, I probably don't get to Baker tonight. Yes, there is interest, but $11,200. More interest in Bell, more interest in Beckham, more interest in the guy who's on here next, in Nick Chubb. And overall, since the way that the salaries are pricing out today, if I'm only going to be able to get to 2 of them, I probably don't want to get to Baker Mayfield all that much compared to a Nick Chubb, compared to a Le'Veon Bell, compared to an Odell. That's just my stance on it right now. If I'm playing just one lineup, obviously if you're playing 10, yeah, get some Baker Mayfield lineups. Nick Chubb, right now seems like the best captain option in my opinion. They're on the road, but he's still a decent sized favorite. That helps running back. Running backs. He's a guy who's going to get fed, I would imagine, at least 18 times tonight from both the air and the ground, and that's kind of a bottom number. I haven't projected this game out yet, but if I did, I'd probably give Nick Chubb somewhere around 22 total touches. I'd probably give him 5 or 6 targets in the air, probably closer to 4 or 5 actually, based on game script. But yeah, last week he got vultured by Dontrell Hilliard. That's not going to continue to happen. Nick Chubb is going to be the 3-down back. That was a one-off situation. So Nick Chubb, $10,000 as a road favorite. I still like it with passing down work, with goal line 3-down work, whatever you want to call it. I like this spot. And you saw last week that the Jets, when a talented back, because Frank Gore no longer has talent, he just has experience. When a talented back, and Devin Singletary touched the ball last week, all 4 carries went for, I believe it was, he rushed 4 times all for 10-plus yards. He rushed 4 times for 70 yards. Nick Chubb is in a fantastic spot today. They got gashed. The Jets defense, after 1 week, ranked, I believe, 9th worst in the entire league in rush defense and bottom half of the league in tackle rate. The Browns defense is interesting today against Trevor Siemian. Whenever you get a quarterback who is not prepped a full, or at least not prepped totally, I imagine they saw this coming, so he probably has about a week or so of prep in. More so than the media and the public was aware of Darnold being out. They probably knew to get Siemian up and going. So he's been in the system, but it's just a matter of he has not gotten live game reps. He's probably had a good amount of first team reps, but not chemistry in a game. So I think that it's scary for this Jets team. I think that the spread of -6 is probably fair, right? Sam Darnold's not worth more than 2.5, 3.5 points. But we've seen Siemian have troubles in the past with interceptions. The Browns can generate pressure. So, I think that the Browns defense is a fine play today. I think that they're captain viable. I don't usually like putting defenses in the captain spot because people think it happens all the time, right? People go, oh, the defense wins all the time in the captain spot. No, it doesn't. It's happened like 5% of the time or less, I believe, since the start of last year for Showdown. But people remember it when it happens the most, right? You don't remember when the good wide receiver, because that's supposed to happen. But when the defense goes for 2 touchdowns and they're in the captain spot, you think that it happens all the time. It's not. You're anchoring that wrong. But Browns are okay as a flex. You can actually put them, I believe, in the captain spot tonight. I probably don't do that, though. I just don't like playing the percentages of a defense not being in the captain spot 95% of the time. You're setting yourself up to fail way more times than not. Like, if you did that twice this week, you're going to lose at least once, probably twice. Demaryius Thomas, 3,800. I have interest. This is very interesting, actually. He's going to be paired up with his quarterback from Denver, Trevor Siemian. When Trevor Siemian had good games last year, or 2 years ago in 2017, and even 2016, it was through Demaryius Thomas, right? Demaryius Thomas, one of those games, had like a career high at one point, like 140 yards, 133 yards one of the games. Like, this is a very old and dusty Demaryius Thomas, right? He's just been bounced around from teams now. Cut, signed, right? It's not good for him and his skill set. He no longer has speed. He no longer can even win with the jump ball. If you were watching in preseason or just in camp tapes, and really what beat writers were saying, he can't even win it with a jump ball. So what is he there for? Well, he's there because he's a veteran receiver. He's going to get snaps now that there's no Quincy Enunwa. It's going to be Robbie Anderson. It's going to be Jamison Crowder leading the team in snaps, but you're going to have Demaryius Thomas out there. And yes, if you're thinking about who the hell is Trevor Siemian going to throw to, because you can't say, oh, Jamison Crowder had so many targets last game and catches, only had 99 yards still somehow. But he's the guy to go to. No, he's not. That was because Sam Darnold was out there and loves throwing to the slot. This is a different quarterback now. Trevor Siemian likes throwing to the slot, but probably closer to average instead of Sam Darnold levels of throwing half your pass attempts to the slot. If anything, I think you rely on the historical data of what Trevor Siemian likes to do. And he likes to throw to the outsides and deep, actually. He'll take those shots. He does throw to the running backs at sort of an average to above average rate. And in a new offense, you could expect more throws to the running backs and more throws to the tight ends. But you have a wide receiver who he literally spent his career with in Denver. So Demaryius Thomas at 3,800 stands out. Do I think he's a good wide receiver at this point? No, he's just a name. But if he's going to be out there for, let's just call it in 3 wide receiver sets when they're trailing, so lots of 3 wide receiver sets, if he's going to be out there for 60 to 70% of the snaps, I like that. I like the opportunity for him to have 5 to 6 targets. He's a red zone body. He's probably the only use on this team right now is a red zone body, right? He has size. Demaryius Thomas at 3,800 is probably too cheap. Ryan Griffin is my last yes in terms of interest. He's only $800. We just said it. Like, he's going to be involved in this offense until Chris Herndon comes back out within a suspension. Ryan Griffin, the former Texans tight end, he actually is experienced and is a pretty sure-handed tight end. So last week caught like 3 balls for 10 yards, nothing major there. Trevor Siemian now is going to have him. Trevor Siemian does look the tight end's way. And again, when you're kind of trailing or when you're just kind of needing a safety valve, you're probably going to Le'Veon Bell here. But then Ryan Griffin at $800 is just way too cheap. Like, the price point of Ryan Griffin today is extremely wrong. I don't know if I have the wrong price point here or what, but let me look one more time just to make sure I'm not going crazy at my salaries list. because this seems way too low, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. So, no, his flex price is $800. Yeah, that's crazy. So, like I said, I wouldn't put him in the captain spot because I don't think there's much upside. Can Ryan Griffin go for 40 yards on 4 catches and a touchdown? Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked by that at all, honestly, tonight. I mean, we saw Jeff Herman kind of in 2017 start to become a name, and then he was a little bit in 2018 because of Trevor Siemian. Like, Trevor Siemian was looking his way 5 or 6 times a game. Now, that could be very much so because the Broncos in 2016, 17, and really till this day do like to game plan their tight ends into the mix, but so do the Jets to an extent, right? We've seen it last year with Savarius Jenkins. We've seen it with Chris Herndon as his young career has gone. So I think Ryan Griffin at $800 is clearly underpriced by at least $1,000 for based on the fact that he should see at least 2 to 3 targets in this game, like at least, especially in the game flow scenario. So Ryan Griffin, Demaryius Thomas, the pass catchers that stand out to me the most, mainly because of pricing, and also Demaryius Thomas, the connection that he had with Siemian. And now you get into my interest that I have to kind of decide on. Like Jarvis Landry, yes, he stands out as being good, but how many pieces of the passing game do you want? Like, I like Chubb, I like Odell. Jarvis Landry is fine. Like, he's going to get peppered with targets. Odell definitely has more upside. Nick Chubb, in my opinion, based on the game script, probably has more upside. For only $1,000 more, I can get Nick Chubb. I'm going to be going there. Landry at $9,000 is a weird price range where I might not get to him. Still a talented receiver. Just now with Odell there, his upside is so capped. He's never been a red zone guy, Landry. He's been a guy who needs to see 12 targets and needs to catch 8 of them, and then he'll get you to your 180 to 100-yard game, right? He doesn't have much big play upside in him, at least down the field, like Odell will stretch the field and see targets. So I get it. Odell's like $2,800 more. So if you did want to get to a receiver, clearly it's Landry. I just probably don't get there based on his price point. Jamison Crowder, like, obviously if Darnold was playing tonight, this guy would be captain viable from seeing like 17 targets, catching 13 balls for 99 yards last week. The Browns were bottom 4 in pass coverage last week, so this is even better for this Trevor Siemian play if you want to go to him or some of the pass catchers here from the Jets, as you probably should based on game flow. Jamison Crowder, though, like, don't be going to him. So many fish are going to be playing him, expecting him to do exactly what he did last week. It's a different quarterback. Like, yes, Adam Gase likes throwing to the slot. He literally built Jarvis Landry, the guy who's going to be facing today, in the slot while he was in Miami. Like, he built that guy. Like, he built his career based on the routes and the game flow that they were going through the slot. Adam Gase likes doing it, but Sam Darnold was the primary reason that you saw a lot of targets to Crowder. Sam Darnold loves throwing to the slot his whole career. He did it with Juju in college. He did it last year overall, no matter who they put in the slot. Quincy Enunwa for the first 2 to 3 games, 4 games of the season, really. Then they put Jermaine Kearse, and they were just getting peppered, double-digit targets. Crowder last week. So no Darnold out there. Do not expect Crowder to do that. And in my opinion, Crowder is priced for Sam Darnold to be out there for the most part. So $8,000, and I get it. These pricings came out like yesterday, so they knew about the news. But $8,000 is too much for a guy that I don't expect to see 17 targets. I really don't know where the passes are going to go. My guess is that they're going to be going to Bell, Demaryius Thomas. Sure, Robbie Anderson's going to get some. Sure, Crowder's going to get some. They're the talented receivers who will be out there for more of the time. It's just not as much as people expect it to be. Trevor Siemian at 8,200 I think is very interesting. The game flow is setting up for Trevor Siemian to be throwing the ball a good amount. He has safety valves in Le'Veon Bell, who yards after contact-wise can get you there, right? And he's going to run a lot of routes, can get you there. Demaryius Thomas, a guy he has chemistry with, seems okay. Robbie Anderson is now healthy on the outside. A burner seems okay. Again, this Cleveland defense last week ranked bottom 4 in the entire league in pass coverage. They ranked bottom half of the league in tackle rates. So Trevor Siemian at 8,200, yes, he's a terrible quarterback. Yes, I really don't want him, but he's a home underdog. Home underdogs in fantasy points-wise, at least, are the best correlating. Home underdogs within a touchdown score are the best correlation spot for more fantasy points. Why? Well, they're at home, so they feel more comfortable. They're underdogs, so they're going to be throwing the ball more, right? So for fantasy quarterbacks, it makes sense. Now, Trevor Siemian, yes, he's a Jameis Winston 2-pick-6 waiting to happen. I don't really care about the turnovers, though. They don't impact your DK score all that much. And if, honestly, he's going to throw a pick 6, I think you can play him with the defense tonight. If he throws a pick 6, he's right back on the field, and now he needs to be throwing even more. So, to be honest with you, Trevor Siemian at 8,200 is a very good play, in my opinion. That's a price point that is really cheap. You need a quarterback in 75% of the winning lineups. I touched on how I don't know if it's definitely needed tonight, but Trevor Siemian at that price point is too cheap for a veteran quarterback who's going to have a favorable matchup. And again, he's at home. He has a receiver out there who he has some chemistry with in his past. He has a couple other talented receivers out there. I'm trying to build a supporting cast for him. The game total is obviously not that great. His skill level in his career overall is not that great. Has he had good games, eruption games? Yes. All the lights are going to be on him on Monday night. Does that add pressure? Yes, of course. But at 8,200 for a quarterback who's probably going to attempt like 40 passes tonight, give me Trevor Siemian all day. Robbie Anderson is $7,000. One second, let me look at this. Robbie Anderson is $7,000 today. He's too cheap. Like, Robbie Anderson's $1,000 less than Crowder. That doesn't make any sense. Anderson by far more upside. We saw it last week. Crowder needed 13 catches or 14. Still couldn't get to 100 yards. Like, I like Crowder. He's an elite wide receiver by all accounts, in my opinion. A very good slot wide receiver, that is, at least in the slot. But Robbie Anderson being $1,000 cheaper for a guy in Trevor Siemian who likes to push the ball down the field, yeah, I don't understand it. I have much more interest in Anderson than Crowder. Again, if Darnold was out there, I'd have more interest in Crowder. Just hitting on some more guys. The kickers are always somewhat in play. We saw a kicker win it last week because he scored double-digit points. If you tell me one of these kickers is going to score 12 to 14 points, like it happened on Thursday night, then yeah, obviously they're in play. Do I think kickers score 12 to 14 points that often? Clearly not, right? So I usually don't get to kickers. That's just my stance on it. Again, you can obviously play them. Only play one, don't play two. You're limiting your upside so much if you play both of them. So yeah, the Jets defense is always in play as a question mark. We saw Baker play really poorly last week. Overall, based on the total, I probably don't get to the Jets defense. If I was to get to a defense, it would be the one that is $2,400 more, sure, but the Browns. Anything else here? Yes. Rashad Higgins is the last thing, and David Njoku. Rashard Higgins will be on the field a lot. He's a very good target for Baker Mayfield in terms of they have a connection from the preseason and camp. Baker has been on record saying that he wants Rashard more involved in the offense during camp. He got more involved in the preseason. I do think Rashard Higgins is way too cheap at $4,200, but it's difficult because I'd rather have Demaryius Thomas at $38, believe it or not. I'd rather have clearly Ryan Griffin. This isn't even a comparison, though, because he's so much cheaper. Ryan Griffin at $800. It's just, what is going on there? Is he hurt? Like, what did I miss? Maybe I missed something. Maybe I'm missing something right now, and everybody's like, this guy's just a total donkey. But I don't get it why he's only $800. So Ryan Griffin or Rashard Higgins, slight interest on the outside. I think he'll have a good amount of snaps. 3 wide receiver sets. He'll be on the outside with OBJ, Landry in the slot. And then David Njoku scored a touchdown last week. This guy's going to have, this is the year for this guy to kind of break out, right? He had a very good week 1, in an offense that just didn't do well overall. $5,800. Like, at this point, you're comparing David Njoku to the Browns defense. And that's a realistic comparison, right? Like, if Njoku goes for 60 tonight, that's a good night for a tight end, right? 11 fantasy points. But there's a real chance that the Browns defense can score more than 11 fantasy points tonight. More so tonight than really any other night when a backup quarterback is coming in and you are a decent-sized favorite. So Njoku gets the question mark for me. I have to see what I want to do with him. So right now, really, Robbie Anderson and Njoku are the pieces that are the closest to getting into my yes player pool, right? Out of these X's. The X's mean maybe. I want to see about them. And then nothing after that. No interest in Ty Montgomery. The guy touched the ball twice last week. Even if he touches the ball 4 times this week, no interest in him at his price point of $1,600. Rather just give me Ryan Griffin. So Odell Beckham, Le'Veon Bell, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb. They're in the 10,000 plus range. It's going to be hard to fit 3 of them. Definitely not 4. It's going to be hard to fit 3. You probably have to rely on 2 even. I lean Nick Chubb. I lean Le'Veon Bell. I like Trevor Siemian actually tonight. I'm going to move him into the yes column as of right now. Just because he's a quarterback and he's going to have so many attempts. Like, yes, he could be bad, but we saw it literally last year. Nick Mullins was, like, unowned in a Thursday night Oakland Raiders 49ers game, and then Nick Mullins comes out and just drops, like, 3 tutties and looks really well. I'm not going to say that's happening tonight. I'm just saying that people are going to overreact to the skill level of Trevor Siemian. I get it. There's a low total tonight. But if Trevor Siemian rushes for 20 yards and throws for 240 yards and 1 to 2 touchdowns, he's probably needed in the winning lineup, right? Even if he throws 2 interceptions. And he's going to be in a game script down 6 is what Vegas is saying, or at least trailing for some of this game, you would imagine. He's going to be in a game script that says more than likely he's going to have to throw the ball. You have probably the best route running wide receiver out there in Le'Veon Bell right there with a Saquon Barkley out there on the field with you. A security blanket tight end, a security blanket receiver you've played with. Yeah, I'm gaining interest, as you can see, in Trevor Siemian. So this is where I'm at right now. Hopefully this helps. You can follow me on Twitter at SalVetriDFS. You can get access to all my exclusive content down below on Patreon. I put about 20 to 25 hours a week into that content as well. So you can check all that out. Thank you so much. I appreciate you tuning in. We're about to hit 9,000 subscribers, maybe by tomorrow, right? So thank you so much. The first look video will be out either tonight or tomorrow. I'll be live tonight at 6:15 p.m. East Coast time to go live for this Monday Night Football slate. Again, thank you so much. Comment down below. Who are you looking to captain tonight? I'm very interested. If you watch the whole video, you can get in on that comment question. I'll be sure to kind of interact with you down there. So my name's Sal. You already know that. Peace out, gang.
Hey, hold up. 1 second. Check out this page. If you haven't yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button, all right? And if you're interested in Patreon, if you're not already a Patreon, you can hit that button on Patreon, become a Patreon. It will take you right there. You can also check me out on Twitter at SalVetriDFS. And hey, if you're interested, this next video that's about to pop up, why don't you check it out as well. See ya.